Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chris from LinkinsLegion.com, and today I want to talk about my 5 favorite Battle Royale games. Now, yes, I play exclusively console when it comes to Battle Royale, especially Battle Royale because I'm most comfortable on the Xbox controller, whereas, I did start playing PUBG. PUBG was my very first Battle Royale game that I really actually started playing and getting into, and I did try it on PC first. I did it through Steam, and I just personally, while it wasn't that bad, I managed to get some kills and survive. I'm just not good on mouse and keyboard when it comes to shooters like that, especially something so particular and accurate as PUBG. That being said, I stick 95% to controller. I have a couple of likes and dislikes for each of these games that we're going to be talking about, as well as, if I can, putting old or new footage on screen for you guys to watch. So first off, I want to say that Fortnite is not on this list at all. I never played Fortnite outside of a few hours with a couple of friends just to try to get into the hype train, and I just did not like Fortnite. I don't like it at all, honestly, and it's just, I actively despise Fortnite's popularity because it's just annoying because you can't escape it. I mean, that's dimmed down a lot now, but either way, when it was at the height of its popularity, it was just the most annoying thing in the world. So nothing against you if you play Fortnite, you do you, whatever, but Fortnite just was not for me. So we're going to skip Fortnite altogether. So now number 5, and I know a lot of people are really going to hate me for this, especially when they see number 4, but number 5 for me is Call of Duty Blackout. Blackout, I wanted to get into. I was so hyped when I saw the release for this coming out. I was like, this is it. This is going to be the multiplayer. This is going to be the Battle Royale. This is going to be my Call of Duty game. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't. I do want to start off with the things that I liked about the game in a very general sense. Now, keep in mind, everything that I list for my likes and dislikes is not 100% of the likes and dislikes. These are the main things that pop into my head after about 20 minutes of thinking about these things. The things that I liked were the guns. I did enjoy the guns in this game. In a multiplayer, they did feel pretty good to play with, and they did translate very well over to Blackout. I enjoyed the guns. The grapple hook, honestly, it was as much as I really didn't like most of the equipment in the game, I really did enjoy the grapple hook, mainly because I'm a Pathfinder main on Apex for the most part, but the grapple hook was just really kind of cool. I enjoyed that. I like to be able to move around, especially a map as large as Battle Royale maps. I like to move quickly without the use of vehicles. When it came to your inventory management in your screen by pulling up your start menu, I thought the management for your inventory, like your ammunition and the equipment, was pretty easy enough to manage and understand. I did enjoy the concept of having some zombies on the map. While it did kind of break the flow of the game sometimes, it was definitely an interesting thing and a pretty decent idea, especially when it came to actually having to open up the box and get some pretty cool equipment from the zombies. I thought that was pretty decent. And also the idea that they went with the map of using old maps spliced into one giant map was a really cool concept. However, in the dislike category that we're moving on to now, I didn't like the map itself. I felt like there was nowhere good to land. Everywhere you landed was either the most populated place on the planet and impossible to survive, or just pointless to land on because there was no good items or equipment, and the cover was garbage, the buildings were garbage, the open road was garbage. I just really did not like the map at all. The map, if the map isn't fun to play, then the Battle Royale is not fun to play. Another thing that I didn't like was the constant distracting character skin challenges and the absurdity behind the character skin challenges, because that also locked away a lot of achievements. Again, we're going on the perspective of Xbox here, and I couldn't unlock 80% of the achievements in this game because the character skin challenges and achievements were absolutely bullshit and impossible. Obviously not impossible, borderline impossible for any casual player, which I consider myself a little bit above casual player when it comes to how much I actually put into the game. The character skin challenges just took away, they distracted you, they took up inventory space when you're just trying to play and have a good time, and when you're just trying to play, have a good time, and you're just trying to maybe go for a win or at least get to like the top few teams or players alive, and half your inventory is constantly getting tempted by, maybe I'm going to carry this guy's bandana so I can maybe win the match and unlock it. No, it's pointless. I fucking hated it. Like, I'm going to take a flashbang grenade in that spot instead of a fucking scarf. I'm sorry, it was retarded. The character movement, generally, I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like how the mantling felt. I didn't like the sliding. I didn't like the sprinting. I just generally didn't like how the characters felt. They felt like thick and kind of heavy, but also moving fast. I don't know. They didn't gel with me, if I could say that. Looting items off the ground, looting the duffel bags on the ground was fucking atrocious. Let's just have a horizontal scrolling list of really color desaturated items that everything looks the same and is just a giant mess. It was fucking awful, dude. And the sound effects in the game. I hated the sound of the duffel bag zipping open. I hated the sound that the guns made, even though they were all very realistic and honestly used real guns to make the sounds. I didn't like how they sounded. For some reason, the mixing was weird. Sounds in the Battle Royale in the background were just felt off for some reason. Sorry, I'm playing with a paperclip thing. And just generally the sound effects in the game, the sound design, I didn't like. It never felt right. Oh, also I didn't even mention that Blackout wasn't even free to play. I don't believe it was free to play. I don't remember it being free to play. Or I played it for maybe 25 hours total in Blackout or something like that. And I think you could only play it through Black Ops 4, right? I don't remember because the game fucking sucked. Okay, so now enough harping on Blackout because that is the number 5. Moving on to number 4, which is going to upset a lot of people, which doesn't have a lot of examples, but it's still here. This is Realm Royale. Number 4, Realm Royale. Yeah, free to play on Xbox. Granted, it has its issues and it's basically taken a lot of inspiration from a few other games, but Realm Royale was actually a pretty fun game. I liked that the controls, considering it was a third-person battle royale, the controls were smooth enough that I didn't feel hindered by the controls. I didn't feel hindered by character movement. I didn't feel hindered by any kind of complexity with the aiming or anything. It was a simple game. There was nothing too complex about it, and everything was very easily learned and adapted to in just like 2 hours of gameplay. The weapons in the game, every weapon felt like it was useful. There isn't a single weapon except for maybe some of the staffs that felt a little bit underpowered, but everything seemed viable in the game, at least to me, especially for me when I'm not really that good at a lot of games. Every weapon felt viable. The smelting concept of collecting all like the little gems, or like, I don't remember what they're called, but like the little crystals you get from killing people and looting items and breaking down items you don't need. I like the fact that you could break down weapons that you dropped on the ground that you didn't need anymore, and you could use them in the future to get more armor, to get more health, and to get other weapons and abilities. I thought that was a really cool concept. Also, the turning into a chicken when you get downed, and you have 3 chances at turning into a chicken, I thought was a pretty fun mechanic. I mean, it's hilarious, but also frustrating on the other end when you're trying to hunt down a fucking chicken. But it made the gameplay just kind of more fun and realized just how not serious it was meant to be taken. And lastly, for the thing that I liked in this game was the general abilities. You had different ability slots, you had passives you could get, and you could like have a soar where you could fly through the air, you could jump really far, you could turn invisible. Like there was a lot of really cool abilities that didn't ever really feel broken or just unfair. Everything felt within the realm of manageability. Now, things that I disliked about Realm Royale were the freaking swords. If you play as the big beefy tank dude where he gets a buff when he uses melee weapons and you run around with a sword, you will one-hit people and you will one-hit them as a chicken. So you'll one-hit them from 100% health and 100% shield down to the chicken, which is basically the downed state, and then you'll one-hit them as a chicken. It is absurdly powerful. Absurd. And it definitely needs to be nerfed in some way, like maybe 4 hits minimum, because as soon as he runs up to you and he hits you once, you are down in the chicken state and you can't do anything. Then he just hits you again because you can't move fast enough to get away. It's broken. Glitched achievements made it so I had to earn achievements multiple times, and also there's still some achievements I haven't unlocked for me, which really kind of sucks because that de-incentivizes me to actually play the game because I can't even get some of the achievements. And somehow, something that I dislike about this game was that it somehow turned out to be better than Blackout. I had such high hopes. Yeah, I'm upset. I had such high hopes for Blackout. I dislike the fact that Realm Royale was better than Blackout. Take that, all you Blackout fans. Number 3 on the list is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. PUBG, my original Battle Royale, the game that got me into the genre. I love this game. I think it's fantastic, and I have 100% of the achievements on Xbox and hundreds of hours, which isn't, when I say hundreds of hours, it's not nearly as impressive as a lot of people, but still, hundreds of hours for me is impressive. Things that I do like about this game are the general ambiance. I love the sound design of this game. It's beautiful. As you're running around in the game, just like the footstep audio, walking into buildings, how the ambience changes from being indoors to outdoors, warehouse to, bunker, everything like that. Everything sounds good in the game. The gun variety is also very nice. They've added a few guns throughout its lifespan. It's obviously still going, and every gun, felt unique in its own way. I knew exactly what to expect from ammo management from every gun, from what magazine would help and versus what attachment would help. I knew exactly what to expect from every gun because every gun felt unique in its own right. PUBG also had the most satisfying kills of any battle royale. When I get a kill in PUBG, it feels like I got 50 kills. I don't know. Maybe I'm just that bad, but the fact is, whenever I get a kill in PUBG, it just feels good. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because you as a player are so fragile in PUBG that you out-fragiled them. Also, the non-invasive loot boxes and battle pass I think is pretty decent. Obviously, that's still pretty archaic that they're still on the loot box kind of thing. But the way they handle it is, yeah, you have to pay a lot of money to get stuff, but you don't have to pay money to get anything. It's all cosmetic. That doesn't affect gameplay whatsoever, outside of maybe experience tokens. But then the experience tokens, I believe, are, you know, they have nothing to do with progression or achievements. It's just to unlock cosmetics. And then the last thing I like is the fact of the inventory management and all the weapon attachments. As I said before, when it comes to the weapons in the game in general, I like the attachments variety, and I do enjoy the actual inventory management when it comes to looting and just managing your stuff. Now, some things that I disliked about PUBG, one is the fact of, and I get it, it makes sense, and honestly, I wouldn't change it if given the option, but friendly fire can get kind of annoying, and there have definitely been times where, you know, we'll be driving in a vehicle, people will flip the vehicle and kill the entire team because they rolled the vehicle, and due to friendly fire. There have been times where, you know, a grenade will be somehow misplaced and blow up my teammates. I like the idea of friendly fire, and it makes sense here, and again, I wouldn't change it, but the friendly fire aspect did get annoying in certain situations where I would be scoped down my Car 98, my teammate would step in front of me the moment I pull the trigger, and I blow Dylan's fucking head off. Another thing I dislike was Miramar. Enough said. The lack of velociraptors and night maps with night vision scopes and range settings is something that I extremely dislike about PUBG. The last two things are sometimes hit registration can be off, which in a game like PUBG is basically life or death when your bullets are hitting but they're not doing anything, or when the bullets should be hitting but they're basically disappearing midair. And the clunky character movement is obviously an issue with the game. It feels like you're playing PS1. It's awful. But I think that's what makes every kill and victory that much more satisfying, is that the game is so limited in its movement that, yeah, it feels really good. Coming in here at number 2 is Call of Duty Warzone. Now, Warzone, it was difficult. I almost decided to put this at number 1, but for a few different reasons, I kept it over here at number 2. It's a very close between number 2 and 1, but let's go on to the things I like and dislike. For the things that I like are the mindless inventory management. You don't have to care at all about managing your ammo and dropping ammo for certain things, because just like in Blackout, the ammo is kind of set aside in its own little category, and it doesn't get in the way of your actual inventory, thus reducing the amount of stuff you have to keep track of in your inventory, which I think is fantastic. I think it just makes it way easier to just go loot, 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 and get going. You don't have to be like, well, I have to drop some 9mm to get some 5.56 for this, where I think that might make the game a little bit slower, and honestly, if they did change that, it might be an improvement to the game where it changes the basic meta of how people play, having you actually manage your ammo and reducing the amount of ammo you can have, because it never feels like ammo is ever a problem in that game, which is something I do dislike, so keep that in mind. But just managing the inventory itself is pretty easy. Another thing is the gulag. Of course, everyone likes a gulag, whereas they do need to improve it, I feel, with adding some different weapons besides pistols and shotguns. I think having a gulag sniper match or something would be fun, or gulag knives only or something. I think that, or like throwing knives only. I think that'd be really fun. Something a little bit more fun and a little bit more arcadey than a Desert Eagle or the 725. It just feels cheap and one-hitty and just kind of annoying when you're constantly getting a fucking 1911. But generally, the concept of the gulag I do like. I like the fact that you can buy back your teammates. The cash aspect is fun, but the idea, like, honestly, when I was playing some other battle royales, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna go, oh wait, I can't go buy you back. That doesn't exist here. So it really kind of eliminates the stress of a player or a teammate getting killed, because they can be bought back pretty freaking easily, especially if you have a well-rounded team that knows what they're doing. I like the player count. I like how we have 150 players and that they're going to be getting up to 200 players. That makes it so there's pretty much always action. There's always something happening, but that can also be a detriment, because that means there's always something happening, so it can be really annoying and exhausting. Obviously, I'm not gonna hark on this for too long, but the character movement and general movement of the game is so smooth. The gunplay feels amazing, and everything feels incredible. The bullets hit, the bullets register. Everything feels so nice and refined when you play it. So it makes playing the game just that much more enjoyable, because your character, well, doesn't feel like PUBG. Things that I dislike about this game, the first thing that comes to mind are, I'm gonna say it, custom loadouts. I do not like the idea of custom loadouts in the Battle Royale. The whole point of Battle Royale is RNG. It's what did I happen upon and how am I gonna make this work. It's It's to prove your skill in the face of adversity when you have a fucking UMP and the other dude is across the map with an AX-50 and you go, I'm gonna outgun this motherfucker. You know, it's because this is what the game gods had given me and I'm gonna make it work. Oh, I died? Oh well. You know, I like it. The whole point of Battle Royale is RNG. Being able to custom and fine-tune your loadout with perks and everything. I get what they're going for, but dude, make that a separate game mode. I do not want the loadouts being a permanent fixture in the Warzone Battle Royale. I want that to be a separate game mode. I want to have vanilla Battle Royale in Warzone with only what you find on the ground. And honestly, bring back the attachments. Separate the guns from their attachments and let us find the attachments on the ground. I want to like find an extended mag, because you know that when you have a certain piece of equipment, you know I have an advantage over other people. Not, well, I have my perfect M4, they have their perfect M4, but I know that they're gonna be a drop shot Halo corner jumping motherfucker that's gonna decimate me in a second because they're a try-hard bitch. That's how it feels, other than, you know, I have this and I have actually survived and looted and managed to build up my weapon to a high enough level to where I feel comfortable using it, and now because I've survived and I have fine-tuned my gun by scavenging, I feel better about my weapon. Now, I do think what they could do is, while also having equipment on the ground, I think they could change the custom loadout stuff in the buy stations to actually support buying attachments for the bare guns you find on the ground. So maybe that could become the purpose of the buy station, is maybe there could be two separate buy stations. One's for your ones that will let you buy armor and health and everything else like that, and then another one that lets you buy optics, extended mags, suppressors, and other equipment for the guns that you have. And it would be very generalized. Like, just because you have, you know, an MP7, then you would just buy a general monolithic suppressor, and it would give you a monolithic suppressor that matches that weapon that you're selecting it for. I think that would be really cool. Get rid of custom loadouts. I do not like it. Change the formula, please, and I would enjoy Warzone so much more. That was only the first one. Another thing that I dislike would be the pistol spawn. I do not like spawning in with a pistol. It makes the beginning way more chaotic, and half the time people just grief you the moment you land because nobody's running for a weapon. Everyone's going to melee you once and then pistol you in the face. I get it. Again, I understand what they go for, and honestly, I wouldn't change it if given the opportunity, because it's just kind of how the game is. But I like the idea of spawning with nothing and feeling like, oh god, I have to get something now. It makes landing that much more fun and more satisfying when you're the first one to pick up a gun and melt somebody who hasn't gotten a gun yet. I think, again, on the same vein of the custom loadouts, get rid of the kill streaks or have a separate mode with kill streaks and vehicles or something like that, because that's my other point, is that the vehicles are OP, and I get it, the map is big and that you need to be able to move around the map effectively and efficiently and quickly, but I think that the vehicles are just an unnecessary meta of Warzone, and I would just like to see Warzone. You know what? I'm gonna make a separate video based on Warzone. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a Warzone video talking about all this stuff here, because there's a lot I have to say that I don't want to keep going here. So yeah, OP vehicles, and I do not generally like the kill streaks. Now we have moved on to my #1 Battle Royale game. It's Apex Legends. I loved Apex Legends from the moment it came out. When I first saw this pop up on the Xbox store quite some time ago, I went, huh, Apex Legends. It's free, a Battle Royale, interesting. I heard nothing about it. I was one of the first people who just saw it and jumped on it, and before there were videos, before there were like tweets, before there were any kind of posts or forums or anything talking about it, I saw it pop up on the store like immediately and went, huh, what's this? And I downloaded it, and man, did I get into that game. Got all the achievements, poured like nearly, I think I'm getting close to like 600 or 700 hours maybe in Apex, something stupid like that. That might be a little too much, but I have a lot of hours in Apex Legends, and there's a lot to like and a lot to dislike about this game, but there's something about it that just keeps it on the #1 for me. For one, I like the characters in the universe. Every character is unique. They have their own story. They have their own interactions. They have their own relations to other characters. And the entire universe is fleshed out in the Titanfall universe. And there's a lot of lore to the game that makes it, a lot of optional lore that makes it so interesting. I love that the characters can actually be on, like you can have Caustic and Watson on a team, and they will have unique interactions between each other based on the lore of the universe and how they would know or not know each other. I think that's fantastic, and it makes everything feel so organic when the AI is communicating with each other in a very personalized way. Another thing that I really enjoy is that the movement in the game is near flawless. The clambering up a wall, the sliding on the ground, sliding down hills and getting a speed boost, jumping up, bouncing around. Everything feels so nice. Another thing that I really like is that it's really a pretty small team that developed the game, and they work incredibly hard to keep the game alive, fresh, and updated, and free to play. Yes, it has Apex packs, loot boxes, yes it has those, but they're all cosmetics. But there is something about that I want to talk about in the dislike section. But the game is still free to play, and they work so hard to give you multiple season updates with the Battle Pass. Granted, the Battle Pass isn't always worth it, but it's still a bunch of content that's constantly coming out from a small team. So kudos to the Apex team. Another thing is that winning a game feels amazing, because a lot of times, dude, when you get into an engagement, shit hits the fan fast. There's no game that third parties harder than Apex Legend. You don't get third partied, you get sixth partied. You get into one engagement, the entire map converges on you. So when you get into an engagement, you know that you could very well be putting yourself into a fight that's gonna last the next 15 minutes with every other team in the game. And then when you come out on top and you win that game by scavenging people's boxes on the ground to swap out armor packs, dropping a broken purple armor for a white armor that has 2 full charges, and you somehow bring that to life and survive, dude, nothing feels better than a win in Apex. It is so satisfying. And also, another thing I want to talk about is that the constant updates to the maps. They're always changing the maps that we're playing on, giving us a new map and rotating and taking that new map, adding a new spin on it, going back to the old map and updating sections of the map to also work with the lore of new characters that they're releasing for you to play as. And also, the new characters all have their own unique abilities, thus making everybody have their own kind of unique playstyle and something to watch out for. You know what to expect when you see a Gibraltar. You know what to expect and how to counter when you see a Watson or a Revenant or something. You know what to do, because you know what those characters are capable of, and they don't overly complicate every character. Everyone is very quick and easy to understand, and everyone can find their own niche. As for some things that Apex Legends does to innovate in the Battle Royale community, they have introduced the pinging concept, of which is executed flawlessly here with the addition of the character voices that also narrate what you're pinging, so there's no microphone needed with the randoms. You can communicate entirely via pings. You have the respawn beacons, you have redeploy beacons, and they introduced trios originally, of which I want to note that all of these things Fortnite copied blatantly. So good job, Apex, for being innovative. Now moving on to some things about the Apex Legends game that I dislike, and there's really not that much, but there's just a handful of things, is that there's something is always breaking in the updates. Whenever they put out a new update or a new season, there's always some kind of glitch, whether it comes to hitboxes or bullet registration or anything like that. You know, there's always something that kind of goes wrong, but you know, that's to be expected. And again, it's a small team, so you got to give them that slack when you know that Pathfinder's hitbox is broken for like 6 months. You have to know that it's only a handful of people doing it, so you have to give them credit and a little bit of slack when it comes to these things. Another thing is I wish that there was more of a variety when it came to the epic and the legendary tier customization for your character skins and for weapon skins, because the legendary, the purple stuff, is all the same across every weapon. It's just a different animated color scheme across every weapon. Like the legendary tier is, I would never buy one with my scraps because it feels pointless because they all look the same. And then the legendary tier customization, they usually look really freaking cool, but there's usually 4, but in those 4 is actually 2 different designs with 2 different color schemes, which I don't like. I wish there were 4 unique epic tier skins or weapon cosmetics for them instead of 2 with 2 color combos. You know, I don't like that. I wish they would focus, and this is something I dislike, I wish they would focus away from voice quips, banners, and trackers from the loot boxes and add them to the character customizable skins and weapon skins. Like, why do I have to earn a tracker to display on my card through a loot box? There's nothing more dissatisfying than getting a box of commons and all it is a fucking season 2 kill tracker, a banner that's like basically a purple square, and then a character saying, "You want some more?" Like, I don't want that. I want gun skins. You know, that's so frustrating. So the Apex packs are some of the worst, most frustrating things ever. And the only thing that makes them so frustrating is that there's so much potential with them. The skins that we've seen on guns and character skins are freaking awesome looking. They're so cool, and I honestly almost wanted to spend money to buy them outright if I could, but I can't most of the time unless they, you know, rotate in the shop. But there's so many character executions you can get that would be so cool. Like, they have so much potential, but 90% of what you're getting are commons and blues that are voice quips, banners, and trackers, and that really sucks. The last thing I want to say that I dislike about Apex Legends is that I wish there was a permanent solos game mode. I want to go play Apex by myself. I don't always want to have to wait for solos to come in rotation. So have a permanent solos and then have, you know, duos, trios, and duos and trios rotate in and out from each other. And also I wish that there was a map preference filter. I wish I could choose to play on, you know, one map or the other map. And I wish, you know, and it would be the current version of that map. So anyways, guys, that is it for this video. So again, to recap, my 5 favorite Battle Royale games are in order from worst to best, are Call of Duty 4 Blackout, Realm Royale, PUBG, Warzone, and Apex Legends. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, check out my website, and let me know what your favorite Battle Royale games are down in the description below, in the comments below, not in the description. You cannot edit that. Stay away from my channel ownership privileges. Let me know what yours is, and if you disagree with me, let me know why. But keep it civil, keep it safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later. We didn't cower, dude. We got surrounded.
We cowered in a room for 70
dude,
of the match, but we did it.
Dude, that is literally how war works.